live today at 1 o'clock. I know they be random times and shit like that, but I'm gonna have a set time starting Tuesdays and Wednesdays, where I'm gonna do the show in the morning and randomly go online sometimes. But there was some news yesterday that actually through the weekend that we covered. Berlanga calls out Caleb Plant. Um, Teofimo Lopez news. He gave out his hit list. I covered some of that last night, but I got a special guest today from Adam's podcast, and I want to talk to them about it. These guys are some knowledgeable brothers, so we're going to make it happen right after this.
Yo, I got so much motherfucking design on right now.
What's good? What's good, y'all? What's good? Oh, shit, hold on one second. What's good, guy? How you feeling?
Everything good, man. What's been up, man?
I'm chilling right now. I'm relaxing, man. Just trying to figure everything out right now.
Yeah.
I'm over here trying to. I should have went over my stuff earlier, but it should be good. But if not, we'll fix it. We'll run through it. But I know you got your podcast. Where you guys from, by the way?
Oh, we from the DC area, man. Been out here for real, man.
So you guys are big Tank supporters. You were there for the press conference?
Nah. We wasn't there for the Roach Tank versus Roach press conference. It was at Howard though. Howard University, man.
Yeah, I saw it was at Howard. I seen it was very awkward. I'm tired of talking about it. Like, I ain't gonna lie, I watched it. I seen Coach Kenny Ellis this morning. He was on Mill City on Instagram. He has a podcast. And and he was just like, he was in Puerto Rico because a lot of his camp wasn't at the press conference, which was really weird. Like, none of them were there, including Al Heyman wasn't there, Leonard Ellerby. And he kind of acted odd, announcing his retirement early and things of that nature. And I think it kind of left everybody wondering,
Yeah.
But what was your take on that, real quick?
Well, it seemed like Tank is going through some personal issues. It's possible that he could be going through some personal issues right now.
Yeah.
So who knows what that could be, But I don't think he's retiring no time soon. I think he's just frustrated, with something that's going on in his personal life right now. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I feel like he's hinted at this before. This is not the first time he's talked about retirement. But I feel like when it comes to a fighter and him stating that he's thinking of retiring, he already retired in his head. And that's just what I believe, especially once you start saying because in boxing, you have to be at 100% in order to, like, this is a sport you can die. So if you don't have that killer instinct, bad things can happen, God forbid, especially when you have a family, if you're not all in there,
Gotta be 100% in this thing, hands down.
1,000, yeah. But, I just found it weird with that. But we're going to see moving forward. March 1st is the date. I don't expect it to be a big event. I think people are very disappointed at the opponent. And I think that's where the problems within his camp are stemming from at this point.
Okay.
You got to think about it. Leonard Ellerby, Al Heyman. Al Heyman puts up the money, or he gets the money. And, I don't know if Al's putting it personally or he has people putting it up or whatnot. But you have to go to somebody in order to pull the trigger. And everything's based on numbers. And if those numbers don't meet the criteria, it's harder to get money out of the budget. So I think those are the things that are happening behind the scenes that aren't being spoken about. And that may be why Gervonta is getting frustrated at this point. But who knows?
So are you not a fan of this fight, the Tank versus Roach fight at all?
No. I'm not a fan of a lot of his fights. I'm going to be honest with you. I wasn't a fan of the Rolly fight. I like Rolly because Rolly's entertaining. But as somebody that wants to see a competitive fight or greatness meet greatness, I can't tell you I've been happy about any of his fights. I feel like, he's pretty much fought guys he's supposed to beat. Santa Cruz, people give him credit for Santa Cruz. He rang him up from 126, and he was an older Santa Cruz. Who else? You got Rolly, you got Martin. It just, to me, it's not like when Roy Jones fought, where there wasn't a lot of guys at his level. He has a lot of guys at his level, and it's just not decided to fight him for whatever reason. So, to me, I am more critical of it, But
I think the fight we won is Shakur Stevenson. That's the fight we've been asking for. Will it happen in 2025? I don't know. Floyd no, I'm sorry, not Floyd. Shakur has a fight with Floyd Schofield Jr.
Yeah,
February 22nd. So we have to see, what happens with that. Then we got, a week and some change after that. We got Tank versus Roach March 1st.
yeah,
So hope they revisit that. But Leonard Ellaby said they're going to try to revisit the Lomachenko fight for Tank. So who
yeah.
knows, man? It's
I mean, but
unpredictable. Right?
even with Loma is a lot older. That fight should have happened 4 years ago. And
Yeah, shit.
you know, Loma's another one's like, you know what, I'd rather just retire. And that's another thing. Like I said before, it's the same thing applies to Loma. If he's already talking about retirement, we're not gonna get the same Loma that we want. I want somebody that is focused. I would like to see him fight Teofimo, who called about.
I would love that one. I
Yeah.
would love to take Teofimo. But I'm going to take a dark horse, though,
Sure.
that may overtake a Shakur Stevenson in Tank fight. And that's
Okay.
a Tank Davis versus Keyshawn Davis.
Yes.
Keyshawn Davis is gunning for Tank Davis. He's gunning for him.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we'll see what happens. But first, he has to get a belt. And it's rumored that he might be fighting Dennis
Yeah.
Barenchek in
Barenchek.
February.
I mean, my thing with Keyshawn is I think he's 2 fights away. I think he's still a little too green. He's very talented, and I think he needs to be built up a little. Maybe towards the end of 2025. Let's say he gets a fight in March, or something like that. But
Not gonna be
I wouldn't be mad at that later. And of course, somebody calls. Let me put this on airplane mode. Sorry about that.
no,
But
you good. I'm at the thing.
yeah, it's all good. But I think that would be super dope. But actually, I got a question that I've been posing recently, and I'm gonna play this video real quick.
Okay.
And I'm gonna need some answers for this.
Okay.
My question is why does nobody want smoke with the most electrifying man in boxing today, Blair the Flair? I don't understand it. Why don't nobody want to call my guy out? Why nobody wants to smoke? Why everybody's ducking? My man just shows up, does his job, puts you on your ass. But nobody wants to call out the Flair. Anyone? Anybody any questions? Anybody got any answers? Because I'm still sitting here trying to figure out why nobody wants any type of smoke with Blair the Flair. Woo!
I get with the Ric Flair.
I mean, listen, I like Blair the Flair. I mean, I like guys that want to make the fights happen, right?
Yeah.
Now,
He's entertaining.
Yeah, he's
He's
hella entertaining. Hella entertaining. He can fight. I mean, and he just wants that opportunity, but nobody seems to be entertaining an opportunity with Blair the Flair. Not Boots Ennis, not anybody at 147, not Ryan Garcia, not anybody. Why is it that Blair the Flair right now is being heavily ducked? Or is he
Blair-
being ducked?
Solid fight. I know he just beat Adrian Broner, but
Yeah.
we'll see what I don't know. I mean, I believe he's still at 140 though, right? Or was that
Yeah, I think so. I think he fought at I thought he fought Brown at 140. No, it was 140, yeah.
okay? Well, I mean, you got a guy like a George Kambosos who could possibly come up to 140. Maybe Kambosos has been getting his butt whooped the last
Yeah.
fight, so I mean, why not that? I mean, something like that.
But
Would be okay.
nobody wants to fight him. Like it's crazy. And to me, and the reason I bring up him because he's another one who's called out a lot of these guys.
Yeah, he does. He
Boots
does.
Ennis. And to be honest with you, this day and age, social media plays a major part in where a boxer actually is in terms of monetary gain, right? Ryan Garcia has never been a champion.
No,
Social
no.
media has made him a superstar, right?
Yes.
And to me, Blair the Flair has a chance to become that, and he is more relevant than most of these guys that are on social media. I mean, that are out there, they're fighting. So to me,
Yeah.
maybe some of these guys don't respect him as one of the best, but a guy like Boots Ennis, in my opinion, can make a lot of noise with a guy like Blair, similar to how Rolly when he fought Gervonta. And I think he's a better fighter than Rolly, honestly. I mean that's how I look at it. I mean,
Yeah,
what do you
Rolly
think?
that good. He's not.
Nah,
I mean,
Rolly-
Bill Cobb is solid. I do believe Boots would beat him pretty bad though. But I mean, if why not? At
yeah,
this point, need somebody to fight after what just happened. I'm sure you know about the whole turning down Virgil Ortiz at 154 thing. So
Yeah, but that's another reason why I brought it up because I'm like, to me, I feel like when it comes to Boots Ennis, he's looking for a big fight. He's
yeah,
looking for, he's looking to become a superstar. And sometimes a big fight isn't necessarily the opponent; it's the situation.
yeah.
Similar to when Mayorga was fighting. Mayorga wasn't the big fish, but he sold fights, and I think Blair Cobbs kind of fits that model right now. And
That's my yoga comparisons, man. Is it? I don't think he's as good as my yoga
yeah,
because you got to remember, my yoga beat Vernon Forrest twice. I
yes, he
don't
did.
think
That's his biggest window.
with Forrest. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
Uh, in terms of the entertainment value, I definitely understand what you're saying on that.
Yeah.
No, my yoga just was a better fighter. You know.
I mean, I mean, I think it's debatable. I'm not gonna lie. I think it's definitely debatable,
Oh,
but
we can debate this one.
no,
Blair Cobb, Ricardo Mayorga.
I mean, what I mean by is like Mayorga. I mean, his biggest win was Vernon Forrest. Everybody else, he pretty much got creamed. I mean, bad.
I
Whether it
mean,
was Trinidad, Cotto, I mean,
oh,
I think Shane Mosley, they all pretty much destroyed him.
oh
Just
yeah, he's lost his biggest fights, but I just don't think Blair Cobb would even stand a chance against Vernon Forrest. Um, at all.
Possibly, possibly, but he does serve that purpose. And again, you got to show me rather than tell me. And I think he deserves that opportunity. And again, I think a Boots would benefit from a fight with a Blair, the Flair. I mean,
I
listen,
mean, it would fit what Boots has already been doing, fighting guys that are not really a threat to him.
yes, but the difference is selling the fight. So let me break it down like this.
Mm-hmm.
Boots is a superstar talent. But
Yeah,
in regards to selling himself, he is absolutely terrible. I watched he had like an interview in a car, and it looked like he was being interrogated. And he just looked very awkward. He looked so awkward that it made me feel bad. Like, I'm like, damn, bro. Like, even when the guy said, they're saying you're a duck, you see his face just
yeah,
completely change up and is affected by everything. In fact, when he's talking, right, he's actually referencing stuff that's been said about him on social media. So he's paying attention to it. So
he
to
does.
me, yeah. So to me, and I'm just being, I'm just trying to figure him out. I think he needs someone where he can fight, where he's going to sell the fight, where it doesn't fall on Boots to sell the fight.
Agree on
And
that.
that's why I think Blair the Flair fits exactly what he needs.
I agree with you there. I just don't. I mean, I'm not saying that Blair Cobb is a bad fighter.
Yeah,
I just think at this point for Boots Ennis, his competition has been very, very weak. Where he needs
absolutely.
to step it up, and I
Yeah.
don't believe that Blair Cobb's is really a step up over Karen. I don't.
I think in regards to becoming a star, I think he is. And let me give you an example.
Okay.
Floyd Mayweather fought Diego Corrales,
Mm-hmm.
Angel Manfredi,
Mm-hmm.
prior to fighting Arturo Gatti. Both those guys, in my opinion, were better fighters than Gatti. But
Mm-hmm.
Gotti was a name that propelled him to be able to get the fights with guys like Oscar De La Hoya because of the profile. And I think that is what he needs because he doesn't talk. Sometimes you got to take that popular guy or that guy's
I
going to sell the fight.
I do. I do. Um, the only thing is Gotti was even more known than Blair Cobb. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, absolutely.
He already had fought Oscar De La Hoya before already.
Yeah. And he
I
had
mean,
classics, yeah. I mean, I'm
you
not
know,
saying Blair is as popular, but the
no, no,
stuff that Blair does in regards to selling a fight, I think will help him in his profile.
it would.
It's
It
not
would.
necessarily in terms of the purists like ourselves. But remember, there are a lot of casual fans that like to see that type of stuff. Listen,
And you know, bro,
yeah,
I understand what you're saying because I think Blair might can get something out of Boots and might make him talk a little more because he's gonna say little things to get under his skin. So that's gonna make more eyes on him because the casual fans they like that type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Beefing and stuff like that,
yeah.
insults, name calling and stuff like that.
I
So
mean,
that
I mean, think about it. Jake Paul. Jake Paul is one of the biggest fighters in the world, and has
yeah,
never beaten anybody and that's an actual professional fighter.
Yeah.
So you got to kind of try to play the same type of thing. And listen, Blair is better than anybody Jake Paul beat, but he also sells the fight. So to me, I think you got to take a page out of that, especially when your fighter is not willing to sell the fight or doesn't have the ability to. He just doesn't. That's just not who he is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No,
I mean, that's how I feel. You know?
see, when you broke it down, I understand exactly where you're coming from, though. I do.
Oh, I mean, listen, this is what I do. I'm a talker. I'm good.
Hey,
Now, huh?
here you go, man.
Well, hold on. There's another guy, and I hope the audio plays because I didn't reset it. But Teofimo Lopez
Oh yeah, I like Theo.
recently came out and with his hit list and caused a lot. He stirred up the boxing industry.
If you could wave a magic wand, really, who do you want?
Let me double back on that real quick before I go to it.
If you could wave a magic wand, really, who do you want?
Let me see. Jerron Ennis Boots, Javante Davis, and finish with Terrence Crawford. Fuck yeah. Sorry for my language, ESPN.
If you could wave a magic wand, really, who do you want?
Let me see. Jerron Ennis Boots, Javante Davis, and finish with Terrence Crawford. Fuck yeah. Sorry for my language, ESPN.
If you could wave a magic...
You see what he said? He said he wanted Boots, Javante, and of course Bud Crawford. That's what he called out, and I love it.
I like that. I would love for him to move up to 147 and take on Jerron Boo Sanders. I would love that. That's what I want. I would, because look, you just mentioned about entertainment, selling a fight.
Yeah.
Tio can do that. And he's a better fighter than a Blair Cobb, more respectable opponent than a Blair. That fits perfectly to what you were previously saying with Blair, with times two.
Well, I think Tio doesn't. He's not. I mean, Tio is respected. I don't think he's as popular. I think he's kind of in the same boat as Boots, to be honest with you. But he's more accomplished. He's beaten two lineal champions. You know what I'm saying? And he's also been involved in some controversy recently because of it, but because of what he's spoken about, things he said. But I like that fight too. I really do. I don't like it for Tio though. I don't think Tio. And this is just me personally. At 140 pounds, his power hasn't came up with him. He has the no knockouts at 140. I mean, he still has athletic, but to me, his power hasn't translated, and he doesn't have that 147-pound pop yet.
Yeah, I feel you on that. His power not necessarily translated, but one thing that he can bring to the table is that athleticism.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Athletics. Boost has never really went against a guy that was an athlete, like, even close to him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He brings the athleticism. He's way more accomplished than Boots. I like the fight, man. I would love to see that. I mean, whether Tio wins or not, he's not gonna be favored to win. But hey, I would love to see it.
I love the fight too, but that fight for me, I prefer it when Tio gets another fight on the 147. To go right up to fight Boots, I think it's an injustice for that fight personally.
Everybody deserves to be able just to go straight into a title shot at 147 is Tio because of his accomplishments already.
Yeah. I just feel like I don't think he's ready yet. I don't think his. I don't think his power will translate, and that's just how I feel.
Now, I feel you, but that one fight at 147, I mean, if he ain't got the power, he just ain't got the power. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's like what it is. I mean, at this point, he's 27. I believe he's 27 years old. I mean, it's either you got it or you don't.
It's true.
You feel?
It's true.
You got to fight.
Now he's been receiving a lot of criticism lately, and I've been trying to avoid talking about this, but on my Instagram, anytime I post anything in regards to Tio, I get hit with the with the comments that he's made, specifically the ones that he made towards Bud Crawford and Tank about the whatever monkey wants the banana, right?
Yeah.
How do you feel? First and foremost, I've gotten a lot of even on my comments. I feel like a lot of people want to see him get hurt and lose because of his comments. Do you feel like he crossed the line? Do you feel like, of course, you also being a black man, right? Do you feel like he's racist?
No, I don't think he's racist. I think he's jealous and envious of black fighters. Okay. So he's using race angle. That's what he's doing. I don't think he's racist. I just think he's jealous. He's envious. So he's willing to say whatever to get under anybody's skin. I don't really that whole monkey stuff. He needs to stop that bull though. He needs to stop that crap. He's losing his mind with that. He know that the racial undertones when it comes with calling a black man a monkey.
Yeah.
And so, but do I think he's an overall racist guy? No, I don't.
The crazy thing is, and you know, I got family members that hit me up that are African American, that pretty much don't even want me posting his stuff until he apologizes. Do you feel like he owes the community? Because in boxing, it's the Wild Wild West, right? If he was in the NFL, he'd probably be suspended for a year or indefinitely. If he was in the NBA. In boxing, it's a little different. And not to mention, a lot of the racial stuff keeps following him because apparently, I don't know how true this is, but Keyshawn Davis apparently they beat up his dad over some racist comments that he had made.
I heard about something like that. I mean, I think a lot of us have said something racial about another race. Now, you know what I'm saying? We've all done it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's just, come on, man. You get older and you learn and you grow up and you don't say those type of things like that anymore.
Yeah.
And
Do
that's
you
how.
do you feel like he should apologize? Because it's crazy. Like just this morning, one of my friends from back in the day, he was just like, "Yo, he's racist." And all I'm asking is, "Yo, do you guys want to see the fight?" And like, it's not gonna blow over. Gervonta Davis came out and said he's gonna slap him, not because he wants to fight him, and I don't think he'll fight him because of what he said, because it'll benefit Teofimo more for him to fight him. To be honest with you, he'll get his biggest payday. But he even came out and said he wants to slap him based upon what he said. Do you think he should apologize publicly for his actions?
I do, but I don't think he will. Because I don't think he cares what people think. He's playing the villain role. I don't think he cares about what. He don't care about any of that stuff. I think he should apologize, but he won't do it. He's not going to ever apologize. And I know people want to hurt his pockets and stuff, but somebody going to pay him for a fight. So
Yeah. Listen, and this is just me. I think Teo's a good kid. I think he's a very talented dude. I do think he needs media training. I think some of the stuff he says is absolutely ridiculous.
but his father has tried to tell him to chill out. I've seen it with his father try to tell him to chill. Don't say that.
Yeah.
He don't be listening.
Yeah, but you know what's crazy? I think his father has to do a lot with the problem as well.
Elaborate on that. I need to know.
I think his father has put him in positions where he doesn't know how to handle certain things and just say whatever. Like, listen, the Keyshawn Davis situation where his father gets beat up because of a racial thing. All of the fights where he's over talking or certain things. Even in fights when he was fighting Cambosis, not giving his son really good direction. Just take this guy out of here. I think his father has been one of his major issues as well, and I think that's what led to him joining Team Reynoso and Canelo.
Yeah, I think he needed a new voice. The father-son thing can work,
Yeah.
but after a while, issues happen. We've seen that plenty of times. You know what I'm saying? So I think a new voice is good for him. I hope it works out for him because I do like Teofimo Lopez. I don't like the things that he says.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of him as a fighter. Besides his performance against Jermaine Ortiz, I didn't like neither one of their performances at all.
Yeah.
But other than that, I like Teofimo. You know what I'm saying? I don't like the racist things he says, though, but I don't think he's a racist individual as a person, though. I don't.
So out of the three people he called out, you prefer him to fight Boots Ennis out of the three that he named?
No, I would rather him versus Tank. That would be my number one. Out of those guys he named,
Yeah.
it'll be.
Yeah, and I feel the same way. I think, again, I don't think he's ready for Boots because of his size. I think him and Tank is the better fight. And to be honest with you, he'd be an underdog, but I would put my money on him over Tank Davis. And that's just being honest. I think he's the only fighter from 135 to 140 that can match Boots athletically. I think Tank athletically. I think Tank is the most athletic. He understands angles. I think Tank's IQ is a little better.
Yeah.
It's better than his. But athletically, nobody matches him more than a Teofimo. And I
would
think
agree.
that would give him a lot of problems. And I actually got him winning. And not to mention, when it comes to big fights, he has the experience over Tank.
He's beating them. His best wins are better. To me, his two best wins are better than Tank's best wins.
Absolutely.
He has a bad resume, but he has no win better than Lomachenko.
Or Josh Taylor.
Or Taylor.
Yeah.
I like Tank's win over Jose Pedraza, and he got that win when he was like 22 years old. So I salute Tank for that win right there. And some other wins as well, but that was my favorite win of Tank,
Yeah.
was beating Jose Pedraza.
I mean, I'd love to see Tank versus Tio. I think
I was,
that's the one. I don't believe Tank will take it. I think it's too high of a risk, and I don't think he's mentally
mm,
there. But that is, I like that. I favor that fight over Shakur. I think he's a better fighter than Shakur. He's more dangerous. I think that fight would actually be better because I think Tio would fight Tank. I don't think Shakur is going to mix it up with Tank.
I think stylistically, Tank versus Tio is a better fight. I would agree with that. And I think, to be honest with you, Tio has more success against guys that come to him and try to fight. You know, Tank is a kind of a counter puncher, but Tank will get busy. He'll go right at you like he did versus Frank Martin. So I think that would be a great stylistic fight.
No,
You
I
know?
mean, absolutely. I think where Tank will run into the problems is this. Whenever he fights somebody with power, he's very hesitant. When he fought Rolly, he was very hesitant. He picked his shots. And when you fight guys like a Teofimo, he's active. He wins rounds. You can't give away rounds, in my opinion, against a guy like Teofimo, because Teofimo, he does have a chin. He can fight. He has an offensive game and he has power. That's why I'd like to see Tank fight him, because he's going to have to put the pedal to the metal. He's gonna have to fight and not take off rounds, because it's a big risk to take against somebody like Teofimo.
And that's the thing. We want to see Tank versus a elite opponent. Tio is an elite opponent.
Yeah.
Shakur is an elite opponent. So that's what we want to see Tank versus. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I would take either or. Honestly, I would take Tank or Shakur fight. But that Tank and Teofimo, man, that's the press conferences. Oh man, they're gonna be barking at each other.
Oh yeah, I mean that if Tank wants to end with a bang and retire, I think it is Teofimo, man. Just and again, people want to say whatever they want about race, but race motivates a lot of things in sports
yeah,
today.
of course.
When there's a badass white boy in the NBA like Luca, there's a lot of people want to see Luca.
Yeah.
I mean, people could hide how they feel about certain things, but let's be honest, especially in boxing, ethnicity, those things, they carry boxing, whether it's Mexico versus Puerto Rico, whether it's a black fighter versus a Mexican. These are the things that are relevant in boxing, and people try to turn a blind eye to it, and it's the truth. So to me, Teofimo and Tank would be major just
Yeah.
because how heated I believe those presses will be.
Yeah, of course, and of course you're gonna have people say, "Oh man, Tank don't need to give him a payday, man. Man, get that soft stuff out of boxing, dog. We don't cancel people in boxing. If that's the case, then a lot of the things that these guys have been arrested for and got in trouble
Absolutely. Yeah.
would have been out of boxing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So y'all want to pick and choose when you want to play the moral ground. Get up out of there with that soft stuff.
I totally respect what you're saying with that. And to be honest, I think, listen, if Tank were to defeat Teofimo in impressive fashion, I think that puts him in the Hall of Fame. I think that, because he doesn't have that. He doesn't have
That
a
would be his best.
victory. Huh?
Yeah.
I'm
That
sorry,
would
say
be
it again.
That would be hands down his best win.
100%. It's not even close. It's
And
not even close.
that's a better win than Ryan Garcia.
Way
That's
better.
a better
Way better.
Frank Martin. Tio was better than both of those guys.
By far, in my opinion. And he's more accomplished. When when you've been the lineal in two different divisions, it does speak volumes. And that's the one thing I love about Teofimo Lopez, and you got to give it to him. He wants to make the big fights happen. Listen, when you call out Bud, Boots, and Tank, arguably the three best fighters at 135, 147, and 154, it kind of tells you something about what he wants to do.
I want to see what's going to happen when these contracts come up. He's calling them out as long as he ain't turning it down.
Yeah, I don't think he will. I will say this. In terms of the contracts, it does seem to me that him and Top Rank are on the outs. And if
He
you
needs to go.
if you watch his comments, right, and if you go on the ESPN website, the last time we checked, right, they didn't post none of Teofimo's comments. They didn't post his hit list, but they posted everybody else that was on Top Rank. So to me, and just being honest, and shout out to X for pointing it out for me, my man X from Four Corners Podcast, that speaks volumes. Is he a priority? You put everybody's stuff up there but his. So I do believe they're on the outs, and that could lead to a possible signing with him on Team Canelo.
Well, this is the thing with Teofimo. If he wants to stay at 140, it's probably best to go to Matchroom.
Yeah.
Because they have Richardson Hitchens, they have Jack Catterall, so he can fight guys like that.
Yeah.
So, but honestly, he could stay a promotional free agent. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
I mean, especially if I think if he signs with Canelo, there's no man more powerful at this point in boxing than Canelo. There isn't. I mean,
Yeah,
Canelo calls the shots at this point. So I
yeah.
think
Canelo,
that would be a big move.
and look, Canelo has good relationships with Al Heyman.
Yep.
PBC. He has some good 140 pounders too. Ryan Valenzuela, Jerry Antoine Russell. They have some guys. Puello fights on their platform as well. So I mean, still has options, man.
Yeah, I mean Canelo's only beef that he has is with Oscar, and he still fought Munguia. So I mean, listen, he's about the money. I mean, that's what it is. I mean, say what you want, but that's what he is. I know you don't got a lot of time, but I want to play this thing real quick.
Now you
From
fine.
you good? Okay. From Eddie Hearn. Hopefully it plays. It might not.
Couple of DMs, like actually round from there's a guy called Junior Union who's like 22-0, never boxed anyone in his life, right? Going, oh, Eddie Hearn gets a prospect beat. Fuck off. If you can't beat those guys, you're not the fighter that I thought you are. And if you lose tonight, it's not the end of the road for you. You've got to rebuild and you've got to come back better. Like, if you don't want to watch competitive fights, if you don't want to see prospects tested just a little bit when they're 8-1 on, fuck off and don't watch my shows, because I'm going to give you real fights and I'm going to give you entertainment. And guess what? Sometimes when people underperform or they're not good enough, they're going to lose. Not every prospect is going to go on and be a world champion. But if you spoon feed them and never put them in anything competitive, one, it's a shit product. Two, it's a con for the fans. And three, you're not doing the right job for the fighter, because when they get to the top, they're not going to be good enough. Do you know what I'm saying? J-Rock, whatever his name is, or what is it? Yeah, Julian Williams. Same thing. Oh, bad night for Eddie Hearn. He got two prospects. Not really. Eddie Hearn found out that tonight they ain't good enough. Oh, that's a bit harsh. Mate, you want me to keep it real with you? Mark Castro, you were not good enough tonight. If you perform like that, you are not going to be a world champion or reach that level. Jalil Hackett, if you don't make weight professionally, you are not going to beat guys like that who you should be strolling through. Facts. Grow a fucking set and stop fucking mincing around the subject and be real with people. Sport. You get beat when you're not good enough. You know what I'm saying? You don't just make matchups that are shit where you can't lose. It's shit. It's shit for the sport. It's shit for the prospect.
Got a new world champion tonight.
Yeah, I love what he said. I'm not gonna lie. I thought it was great.
I had no
Huh?
I have no issue with anything he just said.
I mean, it's true though too. I mean, there was a lot of flack for Jaleel Hackett losing on Saturday, and he even pointed out, like, listen, if you're not going to be a professional, show up in great shape or almost miss weight, that's on you. We're not going to continue to protect you. And I was really, really, really impressed by Eddie Hearn stepping up and doing that. I'm gonna be honest. Give me your take on that. What do you think about what Eddie Hearn spoke in that segment?
I'm with him 100% because he's saying he's not going to make no garbage fights. He's going to test his prospects, and if they lose, that means they weren't good enough. And he's saying it's not the end of the world. You just got to come back stronger, just come back better. But he's not going to give you garbage fights. He's not going to not test his prospects. You got to see what he has.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I have no issue. I know he got a lot of flack saw it on Twitter, man. People criticizing Eddie for saying that, man. I had no issues with that. Just because guys lose, you cannot blame the promoter for that.
No, I mean, listen, I'm with him 1,000% because, listen, you're right. We keep getting these garbage fights. How does the sport grow when you're putting them against Backpack Billy over here, he works 48 hours a day or whatever the hell. And I'm just keeping it real, bro. Like, how is a prospect supposed to become great if you're giving them nothing? And listen, at the same time, it works hand in hand. How is boxing supposed to grow when you're not giving the people exciting matchups? Listen, Manny Pacquiao got 6 losses. Most of our great fighters of all time all have multiple losses. I mean, That theory, and again, I don't want to blame Floyd Mayweather, but you got to blame Floyd Mayweather. How everybody wants to protect the O. You know, this generation post Mayweather, it sucks. It sucks.
It does because Floyd, in a way, the way he carried himself and the way he talked about the O so much,
Yeah.
it brainwashed the fighters and the fans afterwards, thinking that everybody's gonna go undefeated. Like at one point in time, if you was 35-0, you had to really work to get that. Now these are padded records, so in a way he did mess it up because he always used to talk about his money, the O and stuff like that. So it really did influence the generation that came after, in a negative way. But he did, in a positive way, he brought a lot of money to the sport, a lot of attention to the sport. But he does have his negatives as well.
No, 100%. I think Floyd does a good job of bringing, funneling new talent into boxing. But the mentalities a lot of these fighters are coming up with are absolutely shit. And I listen. I back up 1,000% and appreciate what Eddie Hearn said, and I think more people need to clap it up for my man Eddie Hearn on that. I mean, I was very, very impressed by that.
Promoter in boxing right now.
Yeah.
I don't agree with everything he says and does, because I've critiqued him on certain things, but I do believe right now he is the best promoter in boxing. He sends offers for his fighters. He does his best to get guys in the ring with decent competition. It doesn't always work out. That's why people clown him all the time. Oh, if you sign with Eddie, you're not going to be able to get a fight. But Eddie tries. He does try to get his guys fight. He does send offers, and he's very open with the media about that.
Yeah, and he can't control the outcome of the fights. He can't. It's up to you to win. You know what I mean? And again, I mean, listen, I've seen Oscar take a lot of shots at him. Oscar saying, you don't know how to develop a fighter. Your best fighters are losing. But his best fighters are fighting great fights. And you got to take your hat off to Eddie Hearn for that.
Got to. Hands down. Best promoter in the game right now.
I agree. But, shit, I actually got to get to it. But we got to do this again, man.
Yeah, most definitely. I enjoyed it, man.
Yeah, man. I know a little bit about boxing. You know, a lot of people, just
oh, yeah, you certified, man. You certified.
I appreciate you, man. Moving forward, let's definitely do it. I have more subject stuff like that, but, my wife got to go pick up the kids, and she's mad at me for even doing the interview, so, you know how that goes. But, yeah, let's definitely touch base. I appreciate you tuning in, man. I appreciate you coming on.
Oh, definitely, man. Shout out to you, bro. Man, make sure y'all follow us on Adams Boxing Show on Twitter, man. Adams Boxing Show, man.
Yeah, make sure y'all follow them. The brothers is doing their thing. All right, my G. I appreciate you, bro.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. It's your boy Norbs. Damn, my lights is all out. Everything went. I got to recharge the whole thing. But I appreciate y'all tuning in. It's your boy Norbs. I'm going to give you a lot more content coming up. And yeah, that's it.
I got so much motherfucking design on.